Welcome back to our reviewer for fisheries professionals. Our topic is still on aquatic resources and ecology on questions number 711 to 740. Let's begin. Features of a beach include A. Bar, trough. B. Beach face, beach ridge. C. Foreshore, backshore. D. Berm, dunes. E. All of the above. The correct answer is letter E. All of the above. Non-extractive uses of lagoons, estuaries, bays include A. Harbors, recreations. B. Disposal sites, sewage and industrial effluents. C. Science and education. D. Aquaculture and transport. E. All of the above. The correct answer is letter E. All of the above. A semi-enclosed coastal basin with limited freshwater input, high salinity, and restricted circulation. It often lies behind some dunes, barrier islands, or other protective features such as the coral reef of an atoll lagoon. A. Lagoon. B. Bay. C. Estuary. D. River. The correct answer is letter A. Lagoon. Legal framework related to river management. A. Water Code of the Philippines, Presidential Decree 1067. B. Public Land Act, Forestry Code. C. DAO 97-23. D. PD 1152. E. Local Government Code RA 7160. F. All of the above. The correct answer is letter F. All of the above. The biggest fish is the whale shark, while the smallest is A. P. pygmea. B. O. niloticus. C. Chanos chanos. D. O. mozambicus. The correct answer is letter A. P. pygmea. Is a band of dry land and adjacent ocean space, water and submerged land in which terrestrial processes and uses directly affect ocean processes and uses and vice versa. Again, is a band of dry land and adjacent ocean space, water, and submerged land in which terrestrial processes and uses directly affect oceanic processes and uses and vice versa. A. Coastal area or coastal zone. B. Beach. C. Shoreline. D. Littoral zone. E. Profundal zone. The correct answer is letter A. Coastal area or coastal zone. Benefits derived from watersheds include A. Economic benefits: water supply, forestry, agriculture, livestock, fishery, mining. B. Social services: tourism, recreation, historical, cultural, health, livelihood. C. Environmental services: biodiversity, soil conservation, water conservation, carbon sequestration, oxygen generation, microclimate amelioration. D. All of the above. The correct answer is letter D. All of the above. guides and organize the land and the other resources users in the watershed to provide desired goods and services without adversely affecting soil and water resources, involves planning and implementation of both technical and policy initiatives. A. Integrated zone watershed management. B. Environmental impact assessment. C. Watershed management. D. Sloping agricultural land technology. Answer is letter C. Watershed management. A topographically delineated area of land from which rainwater can drain a surface runoff or where stream or river discharges into a larger river, lake, or sea. A discrete geographical unit capable of providing water, timber, and non-timber products. A. Watershed. B. Valley. C. Dam. D. Reservoir. The correct answer is letter A. Watershed. Lowering of downstream water table, inland penetration of estuarine salt wedges, loss of riparian or river areas, watershed erosion, displacement of flora and fauna, and displacement of loss of land and cultural heritage of indigenous communities are effects or impacts of A. Soil erosion, B. Flooding, C. Landslide, D. Reservoir. The correct answer is letter D. Reservoir. The hard calcareous substance made up of the skeleton of marine coelenterate polyps, which include reefs, shells, and atolls, are any of the marine coelenterate animals living in colonies where their skeleton form a stony mass. A. Stones, B. Coral, C. Gravel, D. Marine sediments, E. Marine polyps. The correct answer is letter B. Coral. Weakly swimming microscopic animals. A. Phytoplankton, B. Zooplankton, C. Nanoplankton, D. Fish larvae. The correct answer is letter B. Zooplankton. Transportation of water to leaves and its evaporation from the surfaces of plants. A. Transpiration, B. Evaporation, C. Precipitation, D. Condensation. The answer is letter A. Transpiration. A narrow group of substances that are poisonous and cause death or serious injury to humans and other organisms by interfering with normal body physiology. A. Toxic, B. Catalyst, C. Lethal, D. Dangerous. The answer is letter A. Toxic. In 1991, the local government code was passed devolving primary mandate for managing waters to LGUs. A. RA 7160, B. RA 6969, C. RA 8551, D. RA 7586. The correct answer is letter A. RA 7160. The minimum amount of something required to cause measurable effects. A. Limiting factor, B. Level of satisfaction, C. Threshold level, D. Limits. The correct answer is letter C. Threshold level. Comparison between the number of males and females in a population. A. Reproduction, B. Sex ratio, C. Sex education, D. Experiment. The correct answer is letter B. Sex ratio. A dynamic zone or strip, unstable, unconsolidated material such as sand, gravel, deposited along the shoreline. A. Swampland. B. Wetland. C. Sand dune area. D. Beach. The correct answer is letter D. Beach. Statement about energy conversion that says that whenever energy is converted from one form to another, some of the useful energy is lost. A. Second law of thermodynamics. B. Allele's principle. C. Liebig's law of the minimum. D. Mendelian law. The correct answer is letter A. Second law of thermodynamics. Succession that begins with bare mineral surfaces or water. A. Primary succession. B. Secondary succession. C. Transpiration. D. Evolution. The correct answer is letter A. Primary succession. An organism that eats plants or producers directly. A. Herbivore. B. Primary consumer. C. Vegetarian. D. Consumer. The correct answer is letter B. Primary consumer. An organism is killed and eaten by predator. A. Prey. B. Victim. C. Food. D. Producer. The correct answer is letter A. Prey. An organism that kills and eats another organism. A. Cannibal. B. Carnivore. C. Criminal. D. Predator. The correct answer is letter D. Predator. Waste material that people produce in such large quantities that it interferes with their health or well-being. A. Dirt. B. Pollution. C. Effluent. D. Garbage. The correct answer is letter B. Pollution. Planned course of action, question, or a topic. A. Policy. B. Objective. C. Strategy. D. Focus. The correct answer is letter A. Policy. The early stages of succession that begin the soil building process. A. Pioneer community. B. Decomposition. C. Evolution. D. Detritus. The correct answer is letter A. Pioneer community. A process that determines which individuals within a species will reproduce more effectively. A. Evolution. B. Natural selection. C. Succession. D. Reproduction. The correct answer is letter B. Natural selection. Those structures and processes that can be used by humans for their own purposes but cannot be created by them. A. Natural resources. B. Wealth. C. Economy. D. Gift. The correct answer is letter A. Natural resources. Competition among members of the same species for a limited resource. A. Interspecific. B. Intraspecific. C. Mutualistic. D. Parasite. The correct answer is letter B, intraspecific competition. The association between organisms in which both benefit: A. Commensalism, B. Mutualism, C. Cooperativism, D. Relativism. The correct answer is letter B. Mutualism. So that's it. Congratulations for answering 30 questions.